Hey, what's going on, guys? Yeah, I'm coming right back at you with the wide receivers video, and same format as the last one I just did. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the 5 situations or whatever that I might find, prevalent, or something that I'm finding interesting this season with 5 different guys or a team in their wide receiver situation. And I'm going to start with the guy who I have ranked 10 on my list at the present, which is Brandin Cooks. Anybody who knows me can go back to when I first started doing videos here 4 years ago when Brandin Cooks was a rookie. I was a big proponent of his ability then, and he's in a new situation, but the situation isn't all that different. He's going to be with the Patriots, where they do a lot of the same similar things that Drew Brees and the Saints do in terms of spreading the ball around to a lot of different players and not having a true number one target. They have a number one target in both situations, but week to week it can vary. New England might not be so much as Drew Brees does, but Tom Brady spreads the ball around a lot, and anyone who watches New England play knows that. Thing is, they have what I feel to be far more talent than Julian Edelman ever was or ever will be with Brandin Cooks. A lot of you might not agree with that, but he's quicker. He can line up a little more in certain spots than Julian Edelman, a little more versatile. And again, he's young and hungry. I think Brandin Cooks is going to have an explosive year, and I don't think the fact that Brady's going to spread it around is going to be a deterrent because of the fact in the questionable nature of the running game. We're not quite sure how everything's going to pan out running-wise, and they're going to need to depend on a guy like Brandin Cooks, who's got a lot of gadget possibilities with him to maintain and open up the offense. So I think this is going to easily be a huge year, possibly the best year so far in Brandin Cooks' young career. And I'm looking forward to big things from him. The next guy is, let me see what I got him ranked as, number 16 actually, and that's Tyreek Hill. I have him ranked far higher than a lot of people do. Most people have him somewhere in the late 20s and 30s, but call it a hunch, call it just gut. I have this feeling that Tyreek Hill is going to be a monster this season. Perfect situation. And it's not just based on a hunch. It's based on opportunity. And a solid quarterback, albeit if not spectacular on any level. Alex Smith doesn't do anything great. He just does a solid job of moving things around. But Tyreek Hill, with his ability, his explosiveness, and his just athleticism, he's going to be able to take advantage of a lot of different things in a lot of different ways. And if they don't wear him out on special teams, which they've kind of made the promise they won't do, I think he's easily good for 80 to 100 catches this year. Who knows? Probably see anywhere from 8 or so touchdowns this year. It's not too hard to imagine. He's going to be asked to do so much that if he can stay healthy and keep his head in the game, he's going to be a nightmare for the defenders. So if he can, he's kind of a knucklehead, so if he can keep his head in the game, I'm expecting a monster campaign from Tyreek Hill. This third guy I want to speak of, and where do I have him ranked number 19 on my list, is Kelvin Benjamin. A lot of people saw him have that explosive week 1 last year, and then all of a sudden just took one of the steepest declines that you will ever see for a number one wide receiver. Basically, the rest of the Panthers, wide receiver core took over all of his slack, and he had a lot of slacking that happened last year. He's had weight issues, and he's had some determination issues, some dedication issues. But they're saying that he's lighter. They're saying his camp has been great, and I'm expecting him to kind of be a nice bargain chip draft pick this season, because a lot of people aren't going to take him high because of his reputation. A lot of people are scared of Cam's shoulder, but Cam's not going to be running as much as usual. He's going to need Kelvin Benjamin, and if he's in shape, if Kelvin Benjamin's in tow with the offense, I see a resurgence and a bounce back campaign for him. So I'm looking forward to him having that. So the thing is, where he's going in drafts, I'm highly looking of owning a lot of Kelvin Benjamin because he's going far later and you're able to get him at a discount. So keep your eye on him. He's a guy to be looking at. The fourth situation I want to talk about is with the LA Rams and their brand new signing, their shiny new toy object, Sammy Watkins. Okay, where I have Sammy Watkins ranked is 35. Before a few days ago, where I had Sammy Watkins ranked was somewhere around the early 20s, maybe around like 21. And we know why that is. The quarterback situation with the Rams sucks. It's not gonna be anywhere near where Tyrod is. Tyrod ain't the best arm out there, but he's gone to a situation that's not going to improve his fantasy implications on any level with any stretch of the imagination. We'll see how Jared Goff turns into this role, but I don't necessarily see anything going for him. And we've already discussed in the last running back video about the situation with Todd Gurley. That doesn't necessarily, well, like I say, Sammy Watkins helps the Gurley situation, but that's not going to necessarily, it may help the Sammy Watkins situation because when the line is being boxed in too much, they got to throw, and that's going to create opportunities. But to me, with a terrible quarterback, that's not going to help Sammy Watkins' situation. So I'm steering clear of him on all levels, and not to mention, we're talking about one of the most injury-prone guys there is. So, again, I'm not going to be having that many shares of Sammy Watkins. If at all, he's got to fall to late in the draft before I get him. But what that does do is make for an interesting situation with my number 46 pick, which is Zay Jones of Buffalo. He now almost vaults into the number 1 spot by default. Zay Jones is a sneaky pick. So if you are late in drafts and no one's thinking about it and you want to take a flyer on upside and a possible breakout and opportunity and targets, etc., Zay Jones is a guy that I will be heavily drafted. And that leads to the next guy I want to talk about, who's around the same area on my rankings as Zay is at 40, where I have him at 47, and that's Robbie Anderson. Same situation, except the quarterback situation with the Jets is awful. Robbie Anderson, because of Quincy Enunwa's injury, is now the default number 1 receiver in that core. Now, I don't know if you guys remember it, because what they're talking about is Robbie Anderson didn't have a good camp. He hasn't been showing good, and etc. But there were some spots last year where he did some nice little games and had some nice little plays here and there. And we saw just, last night, that he had that nice, 53-yard catch. That doesn't mean anything when you're playing against the second and third string defenses, and it's the preseason, doesn't matter. But it's a nice little sign to see. I thought Robbie Anderson was being out of the top 60 before this situation with Enunwa was a little bit far gone. It was given a little bit too much hate at that point. But now this makes the Robbie Anderson situation very nice in my opinion. Again, not anything you want to bank on in terms of a wide receiver 3 even, but a wide receiver 4 that you can get on the cheap because, again, people aren't going to be considering them. It's a possibility for some nice points based on targets alone. That's a guy who would like to be targeting late in drafts, and you might be surprised at what he'll turn out to do. So that's it for the wide receivers video. Again, I'm going to be posting the rankings below, as well as on my Twitter page. I'll be posting the JPEG so you can be able to view it in its entirety. And we're going to get straight to the quarterbacks video in a second. All right, have a good one.